Good morning. So, in this lesson, we are going to be discussing a poster. All right. A poster is a type of advertisement because it's advertising something. Um, it is informing people about a certain message and requiring some sort of action from that. Okay, that's why it's called an advert. So an advert is not always calling people towards spending money, right? It's also sometimes to just spread awareness, right? That therefore adverts can be in the form of posters, in the form of pamphlets, etc. So today we're going to be looking at a rather emotional or emotion um, based poster, right? It's going to be about the last straw, right? And saving sea life from pollution, saving them from the effects of our of our doing. Okay, so this is how the poster looks. On the top it says the last straw. You can see this sort of like hawk over here, some sort of seabird, and they are pulling out a straw from its throat area, and in the end, the muscles of its throat are kind of like lapsed, relaxed. Um, it looks like it's broken. Okay, it looks like it's gonna take time to heal. So this poor bird probably would have died if it had not been saved in time. And then we have the logo of the company over here, Senko, the slogan which says, "Saving our seabirds starts with you." This is also a slogan which says, "Save seabirds." Okay. Um, so yeah, so and then we have a recycling logo over here, right? And guys, if we look at the heading of this, like I would call it the catchphrase. Okay, it says this is the last straw. You can see that it kind of continues here at the bottom, saving our seabird starts with you. So it tells us what the last straw is, and then continues with that message here at the bottom. So what is the last straw? Well, there are two types of meanings that we can take from here. The first kind of straw is the physical straw, right? This is the last time that we are going to be throwing straws or plastic um outside. Okay, we're going to be using better forms of materials, right, that are not harmful to sea life. Okay, and this is the last time that a straw is going to be stuck in a bird's throat. Or it could be, the last straw figuratively, meaning that if this has to happen again, it's going to cause catastrophic results. It's going to cause disastrous effects. Okay. Yeah, so what's the purpose of this advert? Is it to sell bird cleaning equipment? Possibly. Or is it to educate people and raise awareness? I think definitely to educate people and raise awareness in this poster, right? Number two, answer the following questions based on the adverts. What is the message of the advertisement? So, what kind, what message is the writer of the advert trying to infer? Okay, trying to deliver to us. You guys can answer that on your own. A few suggestions would be, not to pollute, to think carefully about choice of materials, okay, to not to be careless when we use these materials, because we need to know what the effects of our actions are, where it's called a carbon footprint. A carbon footprint is how much each person on this earth, how much junk, carbon dioxide, pollution is released from that person. Okay, so every time you pollute, every time you pass wind, all of that negatively affects the earth. B, what are they doing to the bird in the photographs? You guys can answer that one. Have you ever heard the phrase, this is the last straw? What does it mean? Well, think of this as just a general phrase. If you heard me saying, guys, exams are in 2 weeks, so this is the last straw. You better study hard if you want to pass, right? What do you think it means? D. What do they mean with this phrase in the advert? Now connect this phrase to the advert. What are the different? There can be more than one, more than two meanings, right? You guys can share with me your creative thoughts about this. So, what does it mean that this is the last straw within the context of the advert? E. Is the meaning of the phrase literal or figurative? It can be both. Okay, and you can explain why briefly. What change of behavior do they want from people who see this? So it's kind of an impactful picture, right? It's gruesome, actually. Um, if you guys see, if you guys have seen videos of people like pulling plastic or fishnets or something like that of turtles, that is one of the most gruesome things to watch. Okay. Uh, Also because it leaves the turtle, that part of the turtle, suffocated, right? It distorts and restricts their bodily parts. I also saw like a plastic wrapped around a seal, and it was restricting its breathing. It was quite sad. Okay, it brought about strong emotions of regret and pain within me. Okay, and I'm sure that you feel the same way. G. What kind of language has this advert used? Read the information on the table about different language actions for advertisers on page 76 and choose the one you think best describes this advert. So, guys, now this is coming to the crux of my lesson. What I wanted to teach you guys about today are the different ways that advertisers, different methods they use to lure you into their message, to actually make you want to take action, right? So let's look at it in a practical, day-by-day life situation. Just say your room is terribly untidy. You haven't cleaned your room in 2 weeks. You haven't made your bed. There's like crisp packets under the bed. There's chewing gum everywhere. There's a whole load of Red Bulls and Coke bottles, Coke cans on the ones on your counter. The mirrors are dusty. And your mom knows that you have to clean that room or else you're probably going to attract rodents, right? So what does your mother do? She tells you something very strong. She gives you a strong message that makes you want to clean it right now. She tells you uh, there's going to be visitors in 2 hours. So if you want them to see your room, then you won't clean it, right? But if you want them to see you as someone who's clean, then you will clean it. So what does that make you want to do? That puts you in panic. That makes you want to clean your room quickly so that people can have a good impression about you. Okay. Or your father could come there and give you a lecture about about what a gentleman or a lady, how a lady or gentleman is supposed to behave. Okay, and maybe your father will connect that story of him being clean to his success, and that makes you want to be that person, want to be a leader like that, right? So according to what type of person you are and which message came across as stronger, was it your mother's manipulation or was it your father's manipulation? They both use manipulative behavior to make you want to complete that action, right? Um, if if you look in a typical case where a criminal is being interrogated, right, for their crimes, they're being accused for the crime, and now they're in the interrogation room. So there are two ways that the detective can conduct the questioning, right? And the first way is he can really get down the guy's throat. He can interrogate him, make him scared, giving him a few slaps, get it out of him, all right? But fear, when you induce fear, and especially in torture, right? What torture does is it makes the person just want to find a way to get out of the torture. Okay, even when people are being abused in prisons or in concentration camps, right? So you don't necessarily tell the truth because you fear the parts of that that uh that create fear within you are being activated, and this causes you to just blurt out anything you feel will help you survive. Okay, so that's one way that the officer could conduct it. The second way the officer could conduct the investigation, if he really wants to get this guy to spill the beans, he would say, my man, we all make mistakes, time to time. Look, you can trust me. I'm not gonna. You don't even need a lawyer. I am here to listen to you. Let's just talk man to man. Tell me exactly what happened. I'm not gonna blame you for it. Maybe he brings like a cup of water to make you feel like he cares, etc. Right? So that approach is gonna make you relax. It's gonna make you feel trust. Hopefully, okay, hopefully. It just depends on how good he is, right? So which manipulation method is going to work better? Most probably the one which deserves convincing, right? Which goes into him using tact into interrogation and not just torture. Okay. Um, Okay, so those kind of techniques that we use to persuade people. Persuade means to guide them to a certain viewpoint, right? To make them think a certain way, to make someone think a certain way, so that they can take some kind of action. They can think a certain way. Okay, that is called persuasive techniques or manipulation. So there are three kinds of manipulation. The first one is called logos, right? And we're going to talk about this in detail in another lesson. But logos is when people use like facts and statistics to get you to believe them. If I were to stand in class and I said, do you know that 70% of South African learners fail maths in matric because of because English is not their first language and they're taught in English in all their various subjects, and most of the learners don't come from English backgrounds, so because of that limitation they fail, right? So you guys are more likely to believe me because I gave you a statistic, I gave you something that sounds so real, right? So that's logos. Whenever I list things, I put things in a list, I give you a reason, right? And then we have pathos. Pathos has to do with emotion. So in this picture here, why do we feel strong about this? Why will we remember this? If we saw a video of someone pulling out the straw from the bird's throat, imagine there's blood covering the straw, right? And this thing is like choking and it's nearly on the verge of death as they're pulling it out. It's graphic, right? It's an appeal to your emotion of, of, of feeling sorry, of sympathy, of empathy, of shock, right? So this is what people use a lot of the time. Pathos is known as one of the strongest manipulation from all of them, because you just have to appeal to someone's emotions, appeal to their belief systems. If someone feels very strongly about a certain thing, you just need to make them feel like they're going to lose it, or yeah, they play around with your emotions to make you feel a certain way, right? So for example, a good example is if you're a smoker, right, or if this is the first time, if you just started getting into the habit of smoking, right, just say you're a youngster like your guys' age, and you started smoking a particular brand of cigarettes, and then one day you look at the precautions and stuff on the cigarette box, and then it gives you a whole list of diseases that you can get, like lung cancer, and they make you feel guilty and shameful about smoking, and they say, uh, don't do it in front of a minor. Imagine how you're harming the health of other people. They can even give you stats and say that pregnant women have died even, or have given birth to deformed babies due to passive smokers, people who smoke around them, right? So that gives you, that brings about an emotion of like, oh, it's sort of like this alert alertness right within you that makes you want to stop smoking or think about stopping. Okay, so that's pathos. And then we have ethos. Ethos is all about who what credentials does this person have, does this company have, that makes you want to trust them. Okay, first of all, we see that this company looks very legit, right? Just the fact that it's helping this bird tells us that it knows what it's doing, it's trustable, I can give this person my money. So A says some advertisers use a lot of scientific language and information, facts, figures, to research and opinions of experts to make you believe them. Is that being used here in this picture, in this poster? Well, I don't think so, right? But if you guys think that this research or this facts and stuff like that, then you can write that down, but you need to back it up, right? So the answer will go in towards H. B says some advertisers use language that is simple and informal, slang, unfinished sentences, and the use of personal pronouns like you. So yeah, so this is basically appealing to pathos, right? What is the emotion created between the advertiser and the audience, right? So how do they create this emotion? By using the words you is personal, right? Informal language, this is absolutely informal language. Informal language is language that connects with you, language that's not uptight and businessy, right? Yeah, and the last one, some advertisers use a lot of humor and gimmicks, like words with double meanings, jokes, and using images to get their message across. So this, I remember when you guys were telling me your slogans, many of your slogans had puns in them. Puns are words or sentences that have a double meaning, but they're used in a clever way, all right? So the same thing in this picture here. This is the last row. That's a beautiful, beautiful phrase because it could mean so many things, right? It makes us, it delivers a very strong message here, both literal and figurative. It makes us think a lot about the damaging, devastating consequences of pollution. Yeah, yeah, and then images to get their message across. This image is strong, right? Explain to me, why is it strong? How does it make you feel? How do you think it's going to manipulate people to in a positive way, right? Manipulation is not always a negative thing. It can be a positive thing as well. It's how you get motivated. Like if you working out, right, or you getting coached by someone who teaches you exercise, how to exercise, then your coach will probably tell you, oh my gosh, imagine how you're going to look in the next month. You're going to probably lose 4 kilos. You're going to be toned. You're going to be able to run outside for 5 minutes straight. Right? All of that is using manipulation techniques that motivate you, that are actually true, that are positive, right? And that actually build your self-esteem. Okay, so please answer question A to H. For this period, it must be submitted before the end of the period. And have a lot of fun, guys. I'll see you in the next lesson.